Hi, I'm Brigitte Kingsley, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrew, and I have to say, he is a pretty cool guy. I highly recommend him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. This is episode 593. That's right, 593. And I'm here with the beautiful and talented Brigitte Kingsley. And I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No, the honor is all mine. Now, the first question I was going to ask you is, how is it up in Canada right now? Because I heard, some people say it's snowing, some people say it's really nice, but what
Well,
can you
we've
tell us?
had we've had a rough go at spring. It hasn't quite sprung yet. We had a couple nice days, but overall, it's been pretty rainy still. So we're waiting for that good weather to come.
No, absolutely. For us, it's funny. I read in the article today it wasn't an article, but it was on the front of the paper. It said, well, we must be in Seattle. And I was like, wait, this is New York. But I got the joke because, it's constantly raining. But unfortunately, that seems to be the new pattern going on.
Yeah, yeah. I need some sunshine. I'm a sun baby.
Well, you look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you very much. You look very handsome yourself.
Thank you. I try. Even though my brother says I have a fat neck, but I do try to hide that.
No.
So the next question I was going to ask you, I saw that you are an actor and a producer. And the
Yes.
first thing I'm going to ask you is a couple of hard-hitting questions about the acting and a couple of hard-hitting ones about the producing. And don't worry, we're going to have fun with this, so don't worry.
Sounds good.
So the first one I'm going to ask you is, who influenced you to become an actor, and how many years have you been acting?
Oh wow. If I tell you that, I'm going to give away my age. I've been acting for a very long time. Since I was probably, I want to say 13 years old. When I was young, I always bugged my parents. I wanted to act so badly. And then once I got to high school, my mom's like, if you can find yourself an agent, then we will support you 100%. If you have the initiative and you go for it, we'll always be there. So I went out and I got myself an agent. And my parents would drive me to auditions back and forth. So that's kind of how I got started, which was a number of years ago, at least a couple decades ago, if not more. And my influences, I mean, honestly, I think it's funny. It was my Uncle Jim. My Uncle Jim was an actor when I was a kid. I remember going to his place and he was shooting a movie. And I remember thinking how cool it was. And Tim and my Aunt Claire had this really great artistic life, and I was highly influenced by that.
No, absolutely. And the other thing I was going to ask, but we can get to in a second. Let's see, I can't even remember my questions. And I'm a talk show host.
That's
Alright, so
right.
who influenced you and how many years? I'm 31 and we look about the same age.
I'm older than you, I would say.
Just a
So,
number. All I say to people, don't mind me, disability. What I say to people is just a number, is how you take care of yourself, avoid stress, and you look great. For an example, my dad's, 71, but if you look
yeah,
at him, you would think he's in his 50s. That's an
yeah.
example right there. If you take care of yourself, it's just a number. It doesn't mean anything.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I 100% agree with that, for
Now,
sure.
the next question I was going to ask you is, who were some of your favorite actors you got the chance to work with, and who do you want to work with?
I missed part of that first question just because our internet connection isn't perfect.
All
It
right,
kind
so
of.
first one I was going to ask you is, who were some of your favorite people that you got the chance to work with, and who do you want to work with?
Okay, so some of my favorite. Oh, I have so many favorite people that I worked with. Oh my gosh,
Am I
I
one of
love
them?
all of my teams. all of my teams, like we on Dark Rising, we had such a great Dark Rising family. So everybody that was on that show, it was love for life. You know, every single character. I have. I would not be able to pick one, but I'll name a few people. Number one, we were just talking about Lauren Williams. She's one of my girls. I love working with her. She's my favorite frenemy. We tend to be either rivals or best friends on television, and she's always amazing to work with. Another person that you guys would know who's part of the wrestling world would be Nug Nargang. He's a pretty cool guy to work with. He's super funny, always cracking up when he's on set. And as far as I'm trying to think, I mean, in terms of bigger names, Colin Mockery from Whose Line Is It Anyway? He's genuinely one of the most giving and wonderful people you will ever meet. Like genuine, very strong actor. Anything you give him, he can sort of knock out of the park. Those are some of the people. But honestly, like all of our teams, I love so much.
No, absolutely. And it's funny because when the second time I met Warren and Jamie, I don't know if you know Jamie.
Okay. Jamie, what's his last name?
Oh, Jamie, Sky.
Oh, Sky. Okay, cool. I haven't met her.
Oh, she's a sweetheart. I love her. And then I was standing there. I took a picture with Warren, and I was waiting for Jamie, or also known as, I don't want people to think I'm a wrestling nerd, so I'm trying to be professional, so I'm using the real names. Because I don't want them to be like, that's Keith. He's some wrestling guy. He wants to do an interview with me. It's like, yeah, that's great. I want to do an interview with you. But I'm not going to be like, oh my God, remember the time you did this? Or remember the time you did that? I don't want to be that type of person. The reason I do my interviews is because I want to build a connection. I want to make a new friend out of it. That's why I like with you. I'm being upfront with you. You're making a connection. You're making a new friend out of it. That's why instead of calling her Angelina, because that's her stage name, I want to be more professional. And I want to be like, oh, okay, now he's talking to me directly as a real person. He's not a obsessed nut job, douchebag, wrestling fan who goes and stalks people. No, you don't understand. There's a difference from being a fan and trying to make that friend connection. If that makes any sense.
Wrestling fans are pretty awesome, though. I mean,
they're crazy.
I think there's such a great group of people that are so supportive. I love wrestling fans. But I totally understand what you're saying. Absolutely.
But the question I was going to say to you is when I was standing next to Warren, and we're trying to get a hold of Jamie, and she was obsessed with this dog. It's a funny thing. A guy brought in this Pomeranian. You might have saw Warren asked her about it. Pomeranian was a hat and sunglasses. So I was standing there. I was standing behind Jamie. I'm like, all right. And I turned to Warren, sorry. And I was like, and I don't mind her. She's in her little world. It's funny how those two interact with each other. But anyway, the long story short is, I'm not an obsessed wrestling fan. I'm doing my show for a reason. Because it's therapy for myself, and I love making new friends out of it. But if it's just not about me, if it's just about you. But while on the subject, when was the first time you got the chance to work with Warren? And what were some of your favorite projects?
So the first time I met Lauren actually through Christian Cage. He was in Dark Rising 1 with us, and I got to do the Unprettier on him, which was really fun. And then at the premiere, he showed up with Lauren was one of the friends that was there with him, and that's how we met. And we found out that she was in, so we kind of stayed in touch. And then when we were doing Dark Rising 2, we ended up bringing her out for the last scene of the movie. And then from that point on, we sort of we wrote her into all the other projects. So we worked with Lauren on, Night Cries, Warrior Worlds, a bunch of stuff. So that's the story there. And so is some of my favorite projects that I've done. Is that the
Yes.
question? Again, like every project is so special to me in so many ways. My gosh, and it's a different life between my producer projects and my acting projects. We just did a bunch of producing projects recently with this lovely person, Kelly Krieger. We did A Very Corgi Christmas, which was this cute little Christmas movie, and we had these adorable puppies. So on a producing side, that was super fun. On the acting side, I've always loved the action stuff. I love being a superhero. So all the Dark Rising stuff, I will always hold special to my heart because nothing was more fun than being Summer Vale and, wielding, like having these great big axes that I would, kill demons with. And Night Cries is one of my most cherished projects because I just love the story. I think the story is so special and great. And what I'm most excited about right now is Rocktapussy, which is what we're shooting next, where I get to play, again, sort of a superhero type, and I get to fight a giant octopus in a mine. So that'll be fun.
I gotta keep a straight face when you said the name.
It's part of the charm of the movie.
Pretty much.
It's actually a sci-fi comedy. I love people's reactions when I say Rocktapussy, but it's actually about an octopus who lives underground in a mine, and he's sort of made of rocks. So he's a rocktopus. And that's sort of the idea. But it's a very sexy sci-fi comedy.
No, absolutely. And it's funny you should mention Chris and Kate. I met them recently at WrestleCon in New York City. Hopefully next year, maybe we can hang out if you're interested in going.
Cool.
But sorry, I just had a brain fart. So yeah, we met Chris and Kate, and I made a promise to my mom I wasn't going to bring my wrestling belt. It's not a freaking wrestling belt, even though it looks like it. But that's this belt right there.
Cool.
And actually, let me show you, because it's not just a prop, it's actually one of my pride and joy. This is a symbol of my talk show. It's a perfect example for the past, this June will be 6 years. For 6 years, if this kid with a disability can make a difference in somebody's life, turn himself into an example to show you, like I said, labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. You should prove to them you can stand out to something, and this means everything to me. So me and my brother were arguing, like, don't bring the belt, it's stupid, you antagonize the wrestlers, and I'm going to leave you there if they want to punch you in the face. So, and so we went, I said, fine, I won't bring it, I bring it to the next event. On the day of the event, I said, next time I'm going to bring it, he said, go get the belt. So I was standing there, and Velvet took a picture, Ashley Majaro took a picture, Warren took a picture, there's a whole bunch, Melena Perez, and Christian, and none of them really said anything except for John Morrison, but he looked at it like, I like that, and I was like, alright, I wonder what you're really thinking. And Christian is kind of like, nah. So what is this? What's the point of it? Because I made a promise I wouldn't promote it unless somebody acts. So John Morrison and Kristen are the only two that acts. And Kristen's like, oh, that's a really nice piece of hardware. Or unless that was Jim Duggan, and one of them said it. But Kristen really liked it. I said, I have a talk show. I'm a talk show host for people with disabilities. I'm turning myself into an example. And I said, I would love to have you as a guest. He said, yeah, man, definitely hit me up. And I asked John Morrison. I'm very disappointed in it because I had a picture when I'm holding the TNA heavyweight title, and he's holding my belt. Even though I do have the picture when he's holding my belt, I don't have a picture of me holding his belt. But, it's one of them really, took an interest in it. It's like, hey, that's a great piece of hardware. You should be proud. A lot of them actually recognized me, in a good way, of course. But I kind of wonder what was their first reaction when they saw me. But, I don't like I said, the beat of, I know I make people cough, so don't worry about it.
No, I'm actually pretty sick right now. My apologies. I'm stuffed up and coughing, but Sorry,
I
keep going.
understand. So, the beautiful people, Chris and Kate, all of them were really great. I can't wait to see them again.
Yeah.
But there was like, everyone's like, oh, it's just a wrestling bout. Yes, I'm a wrestling fan, but that's not, the whole purpose of the belt. But anyway, that's just not about me. The next question I was going to ask you is, you were a producer. What were some of your favorite films that you ever produced? And are you willing to look for talent?
Am I willing to look for talent? Is that...
Look for talent.
How do I look for talent?
Well, I'll give you an example. Let's go to the first part.
I've produced now, I think, about 15 films and a couple television shows. So I've done a lot on the producing side. It's something that I love to do. I'm very passionate about it. Originally, I started producing because I wanted to act in certain things. So when we did Dark Rising, I wanted to be a superhero. So the only way of making that happen was to produce our own stuff. So that's kind of how I got into that world. Right now, we're focused a lot on some of the Hallmark type movies. So we do some romantic comedies, some Christmas movies, which I love because the cast and the crew, everybody's very positive in these movies. Everybody tends to be happy. And I'm producing Rocktapussy, which is also going to be super fun. So those are some of the titles that I've done, and I'm always looking for talent. Like, we tend to look to work with people that we like. So a lot of the wrestlers that I ended up working with is because we were wrestling fans when we were, when we first started. And we reached out to Christian because he was somebody that we liked looking at. He was fun to watch. And my husband Andrew wrote a part specifically for him because he knew his character. So he's like, oh, I can just write this great character for him because I know what he can do, and I know he would have so much fun with this part. So I think a lot of our casting came from there. Like, we were big Buffy fans. I don't know if you ever watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but when we did one of our first movies, Medium Raw, we really liked Mercedes McNabb, so we ended up bringing her out. And Lord of the Rings was big at the time, so we brought John Rhys Davies. So I think that's sort of one of the ways that we started casting back in the day. And now, we tend to do casting calls, so people audition, and when we see somebody that's got that special talent or that's got just a knack for a specific character, we tend to gravitate to that, obviously. And we also often work with people that we like over and over again. So if we've worked with somebody and we've discovered them in some way and they're good people and we have fun with them on set, that's a really high predictable factor for coming back. So somebody like Lauren, for instance, is so much fun to work with. So the reason why we like bringing her back is because we know when she comes on set, she's super cool. She comes with a smile. We have a great time. And for us, that's the biggest reason to make movies, is just to have fun and to work with friends and, like you said, make a new friend, right?
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about disabilities and about social media.
Williams. This is Vanessa Lina. Asian Lalo. I'm Cynthia Bastinet. I'm Sonia Fisher. This is Shane Smith. My name is Alexandra Bowie. My name is Amelia Clover. Hi, I'm Amy Linden. Hi, I'm Anita Nicole Brown. Meg Green. Hi, my name is Asata Caldwell. Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke Francie. Hi, I'm Brynford. Hi, I'm Casey Dunn. Hi, it's Cassandra Kavinsky. Hi, I'm Christina Briza. I'm Cindy Hogan. I'm Courtney Sinella. Hi, I'm Daisy. My name is Deborah Jane East. Hi, my name is Danielle Marcia. Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria London. Hi, I'm Heather Crona. Hi, I'm Heather Callahan Stevens. Hi, I'm Jay Nicole Ralph. My name is Jamie Patrell. My name is Turi. My name is Julia Renkovich. Kathleen Wills. Kimberly Amato. Hi, my name is Laura Putnam. Hi, I'm Laura Chapanis. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Damas. This is Michelle Mupo, a.k.a. Fuchsia. I'm Rachel Rivera. Hi, my name is Sarah Joy Mount. Hi, I'm Susan Winder. Hi, everyone. This is Venus Leone. Hi, I'm Showtana. Hi, I'm Stephanie Herrera, and I was just on the Keith Andrew Network. It was tons of fun. We used up all our time and then some. I really recommend this show, and try to be a guest on Keith's show. It was super fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 593. I'm here with the talented and beautiful, one and only, Canadian star, Brigitte Kingsley. I just want to say thank you for putting up with me and staying with us for part 2.
I'm having a great time.
Now, the first thing I do want to plug is I'm taking pre-orders for the KeithAndrewNetWork official 2019 coffee mug. Right now, it comes in silver.
Ooh, nice.
It's 10 ounces, and I got a lot of criticism about it. It's like, man, hey, I bought your coffee. It was only $10, but I can't even have my coffee in it. It's only 10 ounces. Okay, I didn't know it was 10 ounces, and looking at the paper, it said 11 ounces. So I'm like, okay, 11 ounces, that should be fine. I don't know how bigger you want the damn thing. It's not like you're going to have lunch, dinner, and breakfast in it. But, it's good. It's very sturdy. It's made stainless steel. And
cool.
I also have, for people who are football fans, the reason I did the football theme, it's one, I like the cartoony on it, but It was during football season, too. So you can also get your official KeithAndrewNetWork mug.
Cool.
So if you're interested, I'm taking pre-orders, but you can get that. You can get the travel mug. I also have a hat, dog keychain, maybe a dog leash. There's a lot of items right now, but right now it's just the 2 items. But the first thing I will ask you is going back to how you look for talent. And don't worry, have that effect on people. I take no offense. But the first thing I'm going to ask you is, how do you look for talent? And I would love to work with you. I know I'm in the U.S., so going to Canada will kind of be hard. But I always wanted to move to Toronto. Something about that name sounds really nice. But I don't know, maybe it's because I like Canadians. But anyway, besides having a mental diarrhea of the mouth, how do you look for talent? And with that being said, I know I asked you that, but I'm going to add you a little twist to that.
Yeah.
Have you worked with people with disabilities, besides me? And are you willing to work with people with special needs?
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. We have worked with people with disabilities. And I remember we did a PSA actually called, it was Lights, Camera, Access, and it was about integrating people with disabilities in film. So absolutely, we work with everybody. The determining factor with us is always, obviously working with good people that are happy and nice to work with, and people that take the craft seriously. So people that obviously, study the craft and do that. So that's pretty much all we care about is just working with people that love what they do. And outside of that, how do I find? Oh, yeah, we put breakdowns up on something called Breakdown Express. So if you have an agent, or if you've got somebody that represents you, or even if you're self-represented, there's something called Actor Access, I think it's called Actor Access. And our breakdown goes out usually to both, sometimes just to agents, but sometimes it goes out to both categories, and people just submit. And then what we do is we often do something called an EcoCast, which means that we'll send out an audition request, like a self-tape request. We rarely have in-person auditions anymore because it's just easier for people to self-tape, throw it up on the internet, and then we go through them. And that's how we find a lot of our people, is just by having them read sides and seeing what they can do with the character. And I think with specific characters, you never know what you're looking for until you see somebody perform it. And then sometimes they just have the performance just comes out and you see the character. And it's something magical when you see somebody sort of get a specific character, right? So
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I can't act my way out of a wet paper bag, but I hope I make the cut. But like I said, I would love to work with you if that's a possibility. But I know there's one more people that actually deserve it. But what's kind of funny about saying I hope to make the cut, and I do, but, no rush on that. But what would you consider yourself as of this point in time? Would you consider yourself, an A-lister, B lister, C lister. And before you answer that, I will tell you why I bring that up.
Okay.
I was ashamed to even come up with this, but I did it as a joke because I was watching a promo of Daniel Bryan and Kobe Kingston. A couple years ago, Stephanie McMahon's like, "Oh, you're just a B plus player," and fast forward a couple years, now he's telling Kobe Kingston he's just a B plus player. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna throw it back at you guys. I'm a D plus player. A lot of people say D's for dumbass, but sometimes I get that. But D is for disability, and I now use that as a pass and saying, yes, I am a D plus player. I am a person with a disability, but I'm going to show you, even as a D lister, I can still amount to something. And going back to you, what letter or stature do you give yourself to give you that confidence?
Oh my gosh. You know what? Like I don't even know if I'm on a list. Like when I started, I obviously wanted to be a big star. I wanted to do big Hollywood movies, and all of that sort of stuff. But then as you get older and you realize that the magic is in the art, the magic is in the performance, the magic is in loving what you do. It has, you hope that other people like it and you hope that other people appreciate it. But at the end of the day, your art is based on your own passion, right? So I don't try to be on a list anymore. I don't try to fit in. I just do what I do, and I hope that I make friends along the way. I hope that people enjoy some of my work along the way. And the only thing that, I hope that people that have positive things to say it, and I hope that people that have negative things to say just, keep it to themselves as much as possible. We live in a business that's very difficult, right? Like I think we all get positive reviews and we all get negative reviews, and I would love to live in a world where people try to support each other, and everybody's trying their best. Everybody wants to share their art, and if it speaks to you, then great. And I think that's what I just try to focus on. I have some great fans that I love dearly. I love social media because we get to connect back and forth, and I get to talk to people that enjoy our work. And it doesn't need to be on an any list, not on an A list or a B list, or
Now, the last subject I will ask you is social media. Can social media make you or break you? And with everything you accomplish in your life up to this point, do you give credit to, Twitter, Instagram, Stage 32, Backstage, Backstage Extra, or Access? Do all those dictate if people should work with you and how you got started? Or do you think if you have the heart and passion to do what you do?
I think that, again, this will probably date me a little bit, but I started before social media was big. Like when Dark Rising 1 came out, nobody was tweeting. There's no Instagram. We were just doing our thing, right? I think people have an advantage nowadays with social media because it is an amazing platform to connect with your fans. It's an amazing platform to show your work. But it's definitely not the be-all and end-all. There's no number of retweets or likes that dictate what you're worth or what your art is worth. I think, as a business person, it's good to try to understand it. It's good to learn it as best as you can and to use it to help reach your audience. I think it's a great platform for that. But I definitely don't think it dictates talent or worth at all. I think it's just, if you're honest on social media and if you just try to show a little bit of yourself and your soul, then some people will connect to that. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think that, it's what I try to use it for.
Absolutely. Now it's the last 6 minutes left. I'm going to pass it over to you. Was there anything you wanted to know? Anything you want to talk about? This is your time after all.
Well, I wanted to ask you. You tell me about, you've done so many shows now. Tell me about how the show got started and what your favorite show has been so far.
You mean episode, right?
Episode.
Show episodes, pretty much. Sorry, I was while you were talking, I was just scanning the background. I really like that record player with that big tuba thing on it. It's really nice.
Oh, thanks. That was in Night Cries. These are all props from our movies, so I don't know how well you can see it, but we've got the Summer Vale outfit right over there with my knives, and then we've got the wolf, which is from Medium Raw. It's a big metallic wolf. And then the costume from Night Cries that Andrew wore. And of course we have Ash, because, it's Ash.
And the giant I think, make a joke, Michelin Man. But actually,
we got the Michelin Man too, absolutely, because we're huge Ghostbuster fans, so gotta have that there.
But to answer your question, I'm easily distracted, and I like shiny things and everything. But to answer your question, this June will be officially 6 years. Did officially over almost about 600 episodes. We're up to 593. I have gotten actors, actresses, models, CEOs, professional wrestlers, dancers, cheerleaders, people with disabilities, people without disabilities. I interview everyone, and I like giving people an opportunity. Some of my favorite episodes, you may know him. He did Off the Record.
Yeah. Michael Landsberg?
Yes. He's a great guy. We were talking about doing part 2. Michael Landsberg, he was a great guy. Can't wait to do part 2.
He's awesome.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying he's awesome. I really like him.
No, absolutely. So, yeah, Michael Landsberg, Lenny Pablo. I'm trying to get back on the show. Let's see. I got Vince Russo. I'm trying to get back on the show. Let's see. So, I'm trying to think without hurting myself, if that's possible. Alright, so Michael Landsberg, Vince Russo. I get Kerrigan Mayhem. He did Goldar from Power Rangers. I got a couple. Okay, I did a couple interviews with a couple Spider-Man stars who did Mary Jane and not Jay Jameson, but Ronnie, his assistant. But they didn't want to be on camera. I got a couple of Power Rangers there.
Cool.
Most of the wrestlers, and hands down, I can go on and say names, but my top 3: Vince Russo, Michael Landsberg, and Kerrigan Mayhem. And Lenny Pablo. Those are my top 4. I know it's the top 3, but those are my main 4. And, it depends on the chemistry. If they're like you, if they're laid back, easy going, making jokes, we can have a great interview. We can have a great time. But if somebody's kind of standoffish, it makes me hesitate because I feel energy. And I bounce, I use energy to, if it's really great, I'm using a lot of energy right now. But if someone's kind of like, yeah, tell me about this. That's really wonderful. And I hated doing the phone interviews. Giving you a quick highlight. When I started the show, don't ask me why, and I keep saying this. When I first started, I did 72 phone interviews. And I was still having panic attacks. This is ridiculous. I'm talking on the phone. I hate talking on the phone. But I'm still getting anxiety. So I did, season 1. It's pretty much how I can't see my reflection, but see you have a reflection of yourself. That's what the camera picked up. That's season 1.
Right.
Season 2 is here's the camera, and now it's going to record what's on the computer screen. That's season 2. And someone said to my brother, we came across your brother's show. It's really good. It's really interesting and everything. But why is he in a tiny box? And at the time, I did not want to be seen. And people said, if you really want yourself to be seen, if you really want to take this seriously, you can't hide. You can't have your stuff on private. You have to put yourself out there. You have to be seen. And so I said, fine. Season 3, I came across Ecamm, ECAMM.
Okay.
It works with Skype, so I'm using that as a recorder.
Okay.
So now it's cut in half. I'm on the right, you're on the left, but now Skype screwed that up, so I'm taking it one step at a time. I'm in a little box in the upper corner, so I'm saying focus on you, so I can always use that to practice on, Not how the remotely best sounded, but at the interview. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I'm using this as practice, saying, okay, well, phone, recorded it from the phone to double screen. What I really want to do next in my life is to get a studio. I want to sit down with the person and work on my people skills. Because,
Cool.
yeah, this is great. We're talking, we're making jokes, we're having fun.
Yeah.
But if we were in the same room, I'd be like, duh, 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 duh. I'd be like Porky Pig. I'd be like stuttering. So having the studio is the next therapy for myself to be like, okay, work on your people skills. And this is what I want to do to the day I die. I'm very passionate
Good
about
for
it.
you.
I'm not doing this for shits and giggles. And this is what I want to do. And I got some great people on the show. Some of them were a one-time thing. Go figure. But hey, you can't please everyone, and everyone's a work in progress.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up, the first question I'm going to ask you is, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on Twitter, Instagram, Stage 32?
I'm mostly on Instagram. I generally will always, check my Instagram messages. It might take me a couple days, but I will always check them. I'm at BEE Kingsley, so that's where you can follow me there. I'm also on Twitter, same handle, at B Kingsley. And yeah, I try to post, 3, 4, 5 times a week. Sometimes I try to do it daily. But it's the best place to keep you guys all informed. I also have a website, BrigitteKingsley.com, where you can buy like my calendar or the movies that I make. That's all available there.
No, absolutely. And you're not on LinkedIn or Facebook, correct?
I am on LinkedIn and I am on Facebook. I've got Facebook. It's just under my name. If you look me up, there's a fan page there. And then on LinkedIn, same thing. It's just my name. That's sort of more my producer professional side.
All right.
But I'm definitely on there.
And my last question for you is, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first honest reaction? And after being a guest, how do you feel now, and would you recommend it to all your friends out there?
Oh, I would definitely recommend it. I'm always so happy when somebody asks to do an interview. It makes me happy to talk to people. I was very happy and honored to be asked to be on your show, and I've had a great time. So of course, I would definitely recommend it to other people.
No, absolutely. Stay tuned for Off the Air. I do have a couple questions for you. But wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.